everyone in our UTM Sheridan Theatre and Drama Studies community and beyond. Today in the Zoom box beside me, I'm joined by the wonderful Rob Kempson, here to discuss the upcoming third year show From the Ground Up. Hi Rob, how are you?
Hi, I'm great. It's so good to see you.
You as well. For those who don't know who Rob is, he is a man of many talents. He is a director and a playwright, and he's worked with Factory, Next Stage, Buddies, Theatre Pass Mariah, just to name a handful. And of course, last year, you were here to direct The Places We Are. The first question that I've been dying to ask is obviously there is a new set of challenges in our world to devising a production exclusively online. But I'm hoping that there are probably some rewarding aspects as well. What do you think?
Absolutely. Yeah, I think the real joy of devising in general is that you are always working within a given set of boundaries, right? Whatever they may be. So last year when you and I worked together, the boundary was we had to create it all in the studio and we had to perform it in the studio. And we knew that boundary going into it, and that informed our creation. And I think the same is true when you're working on Zoom. We knew that the boundary was going to be Zoom. We knew that that was going to be the thing that was going to just create some additional challenges for us. But I think boundaries are really good for creative impulses and really good for collective work, because it means that we are constantly looking for that edge to push up against. And certainly this year's class has done that.
How did you adapt to being online when that is your particular style?
I mean, you as last year's archivist will be surprised to know that this year we went paperless, which
Oh
is
my gosh.
was a new challenge for me. And so basically just making really good use of the Google Drive that we were sharing, using that as a way to keep track of all of our documents that we were using as inspiration. The benefits of being on Zoom meant that there was sort of a fourth element to devising that normally there isn't. So I would argue that devised work is largely made up of text, movement, and music, and some sort of combination of those three things. And this year, I would say working on Zoom has allowed us to explore mood. You might say like design, and sure it is design, but when it's talking about each person's individual space, they are so much in control of what we are seeing inside these boxes and how we can use that to our advantage. So I think what people will be really surprised by in the show is the way that that fourth element plays a significant role.
Can you speak a little more to what it's been like working with this year's third year class?
Yeah, I mean, they're an amazing bunch. And I think now having worked with two groups of third year students at the TDS program, I have to think that you're very well-rounded folks. And what I really like about the students in this program, and what I really like about what they bring to this process, is they allow us to be really exploratory because they come with so many diverse skill sets and so many diverse interests. And my job, I think, is mainly to facilitate the exploration of those differences and facilitate them bringing their best selves to the table. I think, you know, one of the things that I keep telling them is, because I've never met them in real life, it will be interesting, you know, on the street. I don't know how tall they are or what they look like when they're not in a box in their house. But I think the thing that is really consistent between my experience working with you folks last year and working with these folks is that there is still that really hungry desire to work and desire to make the best work that they can. And Zoom doesn't change that.
The theme is renovation, which is very exciting. How did that come up?
When we were thinking about renovation, we ended up having sort of a list of themes that we were going to explore. And it became clear that when we hit renovation, that the exploration became so much easier. That was just the thing that sort of naturally emerged. And so then we did sort of, you know, some proportional representation voting, et cetera, which, you know, I love. And it just confirmed what was already pretty clear, which was that was sort of the place that people were interested most in exploring. And I think that reflects the time of change that we're in, you know, and I think it reflects the time that people are finding themselves in personally, where they're thinking about coming out the other side of this moment. How do they want their world to look globally, but also personally? How do they want to approach things? So I think that this is very timely, but I also think it is not a pandemic play. And so I was pretty excited that we had found a good balance between the two. Yeah, I mean, I think it's funny that Zoom theater is now a phrase that we can use, right? Last year, that's not something we ever would have said to one another. One of the great challenges has been figuring out how to make the show incredibly live. And so what it is performed live. There's absolutely no pre-recorded video elements. There's some pre-recorded audio stuff because that's the only way that you can do certain things together. It's going to be weird. There's going to be some scenes that you don't understand. It's going to feel a bit like a collage, but I think it is ultimately full of the expression of a group of really talented artists. And that, for me, only ever brings me joy.
My class, our year, saw last year your musical expertise firsthand, and I was going to ask what sort of music that we can expect, if any, but it sounds like we already have
Lot.
some.
I mean, lot.
Okay.
I have once again been incredibly blessed with like just 18 incredibly talented human beings who offer all sorts of skills. And, we did a couple of weeks of music exploration just like we did when we were together. And thankfully, they are all also incredibly tech savvy folks. So I think you will be surprised by the kinds of musical collaboration that are present in the piece. And certainly the quality of that music is pretty exceptional.
I'm sold. I'll be there, obviously. That was no question.
Great, good. I'm glad I convinced you to show up.
Yeah, I'm coming on. I've already got my tickets for Saturday.
Well, what's interesting is that, each time you see it, because it's live, it will be different, right? That's always true of any live show. But in this particular instance, you will see some of those differences more actively because, of course, we have outdoor scenes in the show, and some of those scenes look different at night than they do during the day.
And do you have students in different time zones as well? Is that?
Oh yeah, absolutely we do. Yep, we have students in all sorts of time zones and all sorts of places, and that will be reflected very clearly in the work as well. Yeah, the biggest challenge is really just internet speed. That's the only that's the only thing we're struggling with. So we'll get that sorted though before we open on Friday.
I'm so excited to watch it, and like I said, I've already got my tickets. For our friends and our patrons at home, From the Ground Up opens this Friday, like we said, running the November 27th to 29th. There's 2 matinees, 2 evening shows, so there's lots to pick from.
They do need to be booked in advance because we're doing it live on Zoom through their webinar system, and that has a limited number. There's like a total number that we can have. So just to know that if you don't book your tickets in advance, they might sell out. It is entirely possible even for a Zoom show.
It's, of course, our first show of the season, and we couldn't be in better company, so you're not going to want to miss it.